Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to try something a little bit different, Dustin. We're going to give you our wheelhouse as far as whiskey buying, and that's going to be our top 5 whiskeys well under $500.
I don't know about well under, but under.
Under enough. We will take into account ABV, price, and the quality of the whiskey.
Absolutely.
All 3 of those things. So, with no further ado, let's get started. Number 5, Springbank 21. Always 46% ABV, always different every year,
Yep.
Dustin. And something that we've had the last 4 or 5 vintages of. This particular one is the 2020. But a whiskey that we can usually pick up for, $400 roughly. Give me the range is what these usually cost.
So if you buy from the UK, you can get these as low as about $230 plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
If you get it retail when it comes out. Unfortunately, I'm generally seeing $375 is your really good price point in the US. Up to, I'm seeing $430 now, pretty common. But we're well under.
Well under that $500 mark. On top of that, just an excellent whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, Springbank is just an excellent distillery in general, but this is unchilled, filtered, uncolored, 46% ABV. It comes in at the lowest ABV of any of our top 5, but just a staple of a whiskey that we can get on a regular basis for well under $500. That is quite a huge step up from whiskey that you can buy for $150, $200. This one is one of our top 5s and one of our gems. Next, number 4. The Balvenie Tun 1509 series. There's about, 7 of these versions
7
now.
just came out,
Yeah, 7 just came out. What this is, though, is this is cast strength Balvenie. Now, not as famous as the 1401 series, but here's the thing. Not nearly as expensive either, and quite a bit easier to get your hands on. So again, this is well under the $500 range. Usually I can pick these up on online retailers, Dustin, for low 300s. Plus shipping. Here in the States, we usually got to pay around $390 for them.
I'm seeing $430 coming up a lot of times now.
Sometimes, but those are really the high end of what you get these whiskeys for. But if you like Balvenie, their honey notes and the density of a cast strength version of their whiskey really comes out in these Tun 1509 series. This particular one is batch 5. 52.6% ABV. If you're a fan of Balvenie at all, which I am a huge fan, had everything in their core range, they're usually a 43% player. Other than the single barrel series, which is ours at 47.8, this is legit cast strength whiskey. Right? 20 plus.
It's the only option you have from Balvenie to get it?
Right. Absolutely. Only cast strength whiskey you can possibly get from Balvenie for that. Plus, this is old whiskey. I mean, this is whiskey that is 20, sometimes 30 years old. You don't know the exact maturation as far as age. They do give you a nice chart that tells you what kind of cask they use, either sherry cask or ex-bourbon barrels. But you can tell it's old whiskey, cast strength whiskey, dense, rich, thick, Balvenie.
It's a showcase of oak casks that have been well aged, and the sherry casks they're selecting. And every batch of these, they vary a little bit, more sherry, less sherry, but you're always getting old whiskey notes.
Again, these vary from batch to batch, but cast strength Balvenie, you can't beat it.
No, I wish they made more.
Absolutely. Next, number 3. Bruichladdich Black Art. This particular one is 7.1. Doesn't matter which one you get. Number 3 is good. Number 4 is excellent. Haven't had a chance to try 8, which is lower ABV. But every Black Art we've had, have we not been super impressed with it? This is a 91, 92 whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, we might think on this one, well, there's a little risk. They went from cast strength to lower, and they're lowering it again. But I tell you what, Mike, every time we hear, well, they did that, they changed this, it's not quite the same.
Still excellent whiskey.
I still think it's excellent. And when these hit, they are some of the best whiskeys you can buy.
Absolutely.
Right around $400 is generally what I see in the States.
Yeah, normally I can get them online from overseas retailers for more in the lower 3s. I mean, but that's rare. You kind of have to jump on them. They don't last very long. Here in the States, I always seem like $409 for whatever reason. Plus tax. I don't know why $409 is the reason, but 1 through 4 were all cast strength. 5, 6, and 7 were all 48.4% ABV. But again, big ABV. Old whiskey. This particular one I believe is 25 years old. My favorite, the 4.1, is 23 years old. But they're all 22 to 27, 28-year-old whiskey. Old whiskey, old unpeated Bruichladdich. And if you're a fan of the Octomore and you ever tried an unpeated Bruichladdich, man, this is an excellent showcase for that whiskey.
Absolutely. You always get new caskings, new finishings, and they're always exceptional. So guys,
Well under $500.
Yeah.
Readily available in most places you can go, and an excellent buy, especially if you're looking for a great whiskey for a gift or someone,
Yep.
around the holiday times, or just want to treat yourself. Because again, there is a huge jump between a $200 and $250 whiskey and a whiskey that, is just under $500. That's why Bruichladdich Black Art comes in at number 3 for us.
Yep, this would be a great black tie New Year's bottle.
Absolutely. Number 2. What can we say that's not been said about the Glengoyne 25? Oh, it's fantastic. And from the second that we had this whiskey, we could not believe how good of a sherry cask whiskey this was for a 25-year-old Speyside whiskey.
First whiskey on the list that both Mike and I this year bought more than one each of.
Oh, absolutely. The nice thing about this one, it comes in a big ABV, Dustin. This one's at 48%, very similar to like the 21-year-old Parliament from Glendronach, but just 4 years older. And I tell you what, if you're a sherry lover like Macallan's, like Aberlour's, Glendronach's, Glenfarclas, you owe it yourself to try this whiskey. This one, I was able to pick these up for low 3s a lot of times.
They're getting a little harder to get.
Yeah, they're getting a little harder, a little bit more expensive.
And they did just release a new bottle shape look.
New batch of it. But I tell you what, this is a distillery I trust. The 30, the 25, they've always been excellent. And even the younger versions, the 18 and 21, at least they've been consistent.
Yeah.
But this 25 year to me, if you're looking for a sherry matured whiskey, you're never going to find a better bang for your buck than this 25
and Mike,
year
we should add,
one.
They didn't cut corners on the sherry cask here either.
No, big sherry punch.
Mostly first fill, European oak. Both those are buzzwords for it cost us more to make this.
Yeah, and again, this is a clear bottle. You can see how dark this whiskey is.
Yeah.
This is a banger. We've done an individual review of this. I was a huge fan of it. The second I had a drink of this, told you about it, had to get it, got a second bottle. You got a couple bottles, 48%. It's checking a lot of boxes. Excellent whiskey. That's why it comes in at number 2. But finally, number 1. A bottle that Dustin and I are no stranger to, the Laphroaig 25. Dustin?
Absolutely. I have told everybody, if I ever had to budget my whiskey buying, I'm buying one of these every month I can.
Yes.
And then I'll fill in some bourbons if I need extra stuff to drink, because I love this bottle.
I'm an Isle fan in general, but this Laphroaig, this is absolutely some of the best Laphroaig at a reasonable price. Every year they release one. Every year it's cask strength. Usually it's a mixture of bourbon and ex-sherry. Sometimes it's just bourbon, so you have to look at the different year vintages. I know 2018 was just bourbon, but it was at a higher ABV. Every year, a little slightly different cask maturation. Every year, a slightly different ABV, but it's always cask strength. It's always that beautiful Laphroaig profile, but just with a fruitiness that you cannot get from the younger whiskeys. Dustin, am I wrong?
Oh, absolutely not. And, Mike, we talk about value sometimes, and people are going to jump up. And these are getting harder to get under 500. We're starting to see these showing up a little higher.
In America, it's the tariffs.
Yeah, well, America, tariffs, but also I'm noticing overseas we're starting to see the prices hike a little bit too.
Creeping up.
But you can still find it under that $500 mark.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing, can you think of a cask strength 25-year-old whiskey?
It's better at a cheaper price? No.
It's even close to this in price.
No, I have, as you know, 6 different vintages, or 6 different bottles of this 25-year-old.
Yeah.
I think the most I ever paid for any one of them was $425. There were some of them that I paid $399 delivered to me to get, especially those 2018-year-olds. I think I got both of those for just under $400 delivered to me. And again, when you're talking about a 25-year-old whiskey, which is a premium, it's quite a jump from the 21, and cask strength, from a well-known and well-loved distillery, there is no better bang for your buck 25-year-old cask strength whiskey than this Laphroaig. I can't even think of one that's even better priced.
No, I mean, think about it. Ardbeg just put out a 25-year-old for $850 plus.
46% ABV.
Yeah. Macallan wants $2,500 now for their
43%
25.
ABV.
I mean, yeah.
Their neighbors Lagavulin, they rarely bring out a 25. When they do, it's a similar ABV, and it's 3 times as expensive, almost 4 times as expensive.
Springbank 25 year, 46, $700-800.
It doesn't matter that other whiskeys are more expensive. This whiskey is such a treat to drink.
Yeah.
You and I both fell in love with this whiskey the first time we had it.
Absolutely.
Bought multiple bottles of it, bought multiple vintages of this particular whiskey. And this is one of the whiskeys that, a phrase I use a lot with you is, I don't ever want to be without this whiskey.
No, I honestly, like I said, if I could only drink 2 or 3 whiskeys, this is on the list.
Yeah, this is an excellent whiskey. Some people think, it's a huge step up in price from, say, the 18, and it is, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, worth it. I mean, again, another whiskey you can usually find well under $500, regularly available, cask strength, 25-year-old Laphroaig.
Yeah.
What were you say?
Beautiful, beautiful whiskey. And again, I can't say enough about how there's just there's no competitor. Nobody is even trying to put out a whiskey like this.
No, this is absolutely the
At
best
this
bang for your
price.
buck. Yeah, it is an amazing whiskey. That's why it earns the #1 spot on our list. So here is our list of the top 5 whiskeys that you can buy under $500. Kind of Dustin and I's wheelhouse as far as buying. We're kind of messing around in this $350 to $450 range quite a bit. Great gift ideas for anybody next holiday season. And if you're just a whiskey connoisseur and you want to go into some nicer high-end whiskeys that aren't on the shelf on a regular basis, you want to go behind the shelf, behind the counter.
Yeah.
Dustin, can you think of 5 whiskeys better under $500?
Absolutely not.
No, these are the bangers right here in order for you guys. Enjoy.